Oh, hey, didn't see you there. In today's episode, we're showing you how we made this. This beautiful bird. Isn't she lovely? Anyways, stick around. Hey guys, welcome back to Squirrel's Woodshop. This is Danny, and today we're going to make this dodo bird, is what we're calling it. Now, I have never seen a dodo bird, so I have no idea what they look like. So with that being said, this is the best looking dodo bird I have ever seen. And you might be thinking, well, it's also the worst, but no, it's not, because the one I drew on this blank piece of wood first was absolutely terrible. So bad that my wife just said, no. And a lot of you may think that it hurt my feelings, but it didn't, because deep down, I know that my two kids, which are 11 and 8, can draw better than I can. And I'm okay with that. And it made me feel a little bit better when my wife tried drawing it, and it didn't look very good either. We finally had to call the expert in and get Squirrel to draw it for us. And this is what you see now. The best looking dodo bird I've ever seen. Now, you just seen us cut this dodo bird out on a profile side view, if you will. But now we needed to cut out the front side of the dodo bird. And since we just cut that off, the only good way we could think of to put it back together and trace our lines again. So that's what we did. Stuck everything right back together and went around and cut the front side of it. Now, you may have noticed that whenever we put these together, we use some paper in between the glue. And that just makes it easy to come off. Now, we have never tried this before, but it actually worked very well. Surprisingly. It worked so well that we're going to do it again. We've cut the sides. We've cut the front. And now we're cutting the side again? Yeah, that's right. Because if we cut off the side the first time, we wouldn't have any structure to our bird. It would all be free floating. So we thought it was best to go ahead and have at least one side connecting instead of 4 sides glued and papered. And it seemed to work pretty good. Now we got that bird all cut up, we're going to start sculpting. Now you can see we started with the cut saw disc, and it was working very well. But that's not the only tool that we used. I mean, we threw a plethora of stuff at this thing. And, well, kind of made me feel like a dodo. And I can understand where this bird gets its name from. Because I felt like I cut off 5 pounds of wood off of this 2-pound bird. And it was basically already done. I'd already cut the side and the front. All I had to do was connect the dots, make it round, make it 3D. But somehow that ended up being the hardest part. I mean, I literally worked hours shaping this dude. Little at a time, hit it with a cut saw disc, go back with a sander, just back and forth. I'm not going to show you every little thing I done here, but you kind of get the idea of what's going on. But what I will tell you, and that I just found out after I kind of let my wife and kids preview the video a little bit, that as soon as I said dodo bird, they started laughing. Because evidently it's not even a dodo bird. Yeah, dodo birds were extinct like a long time ago. This is actually a kiwi bird. Go figure. I ain't never seen one of them either. And after a quick Google search, I can verify that this is definitely more like a kiwi bird than a dodo bird. but that doesn't make me feel any less dodo-ish. So now that we got all that cleared up, it was time for this kiwi bird to get a little bit of a belly rub. So we rubbed it down pretty good. After that belly rub, he was looking for a good head scratching. So we went ahead and scratched his head for him. I spent a lot of time on his head, kind of getting a good round shape on it and trying to figure out how I wanted to do his do there, because he needed to put a good beak on him. And when I mean good beak, I mean that thing nearly touches his toes. But the problem we're running into is that this wood has been eaten up by some worms. And there are holes all in it. And I did ask my little girl what she wanted to do with all the holes, if she wanted me to fill them, or patch them, or just leave them. And she decided that she wanted to leave them just the way they was, because it matched her other bowl that she had in her room. So it worked out good for me. However, before we got to the beak, we needed to define this dude's features on him. By define, I mean, make it look like his butt's a little browner and get all them burn marks off his back. Now, if you remember, I told you we used a lot of tools on this job. And as you can see, we've got files and chisels and even an eraser. Not sure what that's all for, but this was one of my favorites. The tiger pad on the grinder. This shaped it not as much as the cut-saw blades, but it still took off quite a bit of material, and it actually made a pretty decent finish on it. We got through the tiger pad, then we went back with the good old sander, probably 120 grit, just to finish any smoothing out, get all the lumps off his butt. Man, don't need no bumpy butt. Can't be having all them other kiwi birds nag him about a lumpy butt. We got them smoothed out, and this is kind of what we're looking like. Don't look all that bad. Still got a few spots here and there, but overall, not too bad. Now, if you're keeping tabs on the tool ticker, here's another one. It's basically just a sanding pad on a little contour pad on a drill. We've got to be getting close to double digits by now. But don't hold your breath, because here we go. We're going to bring out another one. Since we've got the body kind of the way we want it, it's time to make the beak and the feet and then the legs. So we started with the beak first. It seemed pretty straightforward. Draw it out, trace it out, cut it out. Pretty simple. And this is kind of what it looks like. And then we moved on to the feet. Now the feet were a little bit more difficult, but in the end I kind of like them. And I believe they're my favorite part on the whole bird. But they're a little thick, and I did not just drop that. Maybe I did, but I didn't break it, so it's okay. Now we're just going to split it in two pieces. That way we have, 2 feet, and they're not big fat toes. And here's what they look like in the end. Yeah, I like those. And since the beak was now done, and the toes were now done, all we liked was the legs. So here we're just going to rip down some scraps we had laying around and turn them. Now these are going to be some pretty thin legs, so we're going to have to take it way on down there. But it didn't take long before we had some of the finest looking kiwi legs you've ever seen. Just needed to finish them off with a little fine sanding. And then it was time to cut them off. So now we got our beak, our toes, and our legs. Now it's just a matter of throwing them all on him. We're going to start with the beak first. Now I ain't no dentist, but this is the closest I believe I've ever been to working on somebody's tooth. It felt like I was doing a root canal right here in the shop. Now when I was dry fitting this nose, it hit me. I want this beak to be right in the center of both its legs. In order to do that, I kind of needed to put the legs on first. So that's what we did. And once we got the legs both on there, everything was looking good. Then we went ahead and put the beak on there. You can't tell it here, but I did put a point on the start of his beak there so that it would slide into that hole and look flush with the tip of its dew, if that makes any sense at all. And once the beak's set up, we were able to put on my favorite part, which is them little toes there. I think they fit him just right. Then we just made sure all the glue was off, and this bird was done. And this is where Chip Chop stays now. Well, that's what my little girl named it, Chip Chop. And if you're wondering what happened at the start of the video when my camera kind of crashed, well, it landed right on Chip Chop's leg and broke his foot and his beak. But with a little surgery, old Chip Chop's looking better than ever. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe, and God bless you.